Hey guys, welcome to 6 Minutes for Tuesday, December 6th. I'm Jason Fulmore, SE Wrestle, and today we are doing the weekend roundup. Yeah, we're going to jump around the states, try to highlight some things that I noticed after putting together the write-up or the weekend roundup, collecting all the results and everything else. Obviously, I was at the Southern Slam in South Carolina, so my takeaway is a lot focused on that, although what I did was I tried to go through things that I saw as I collected information, and going to try to share that with you. Now, I know you guys are, there were tons of action. You might have been focused in on one specific tournament. That's the whole point of this. I may or may not touch on that tournament, the tournament that you're talking about, that you were at, such as Life. I can't even express how many different tournaments there were this weekend. And it obviously showed, because when I sent out the email to the coaches, even though it was late to the coaches, asking them for their hammers of the week, and here's a few of them. I got over 200 responses, which is fantastic. All these kids wrestled, had some success, and their coaches were helping me in recognizing them. Also know, it doesn't have to be just coaches, although I don't take nominations from parents. I had officials come up to me and say, hey, this kid's really good. You might think about putting him on the hammer of the week or whatever. So, I try to gather different pieces of information. I also have coaches who still like to submit a ton of different names. And just because you have a teammate on the hammer list doesn't mean that your coach didn't submit your name. But I try to limit the number of individuals that make that list from a particular team. So I know it's hard. You get 4 wrestlers from the same team who all win a title, all went unbeaten this past weekend. How do you pick? Well, so it's not dominated by a single school. I do that and just go through and pick one, maybe pick 2, depending on if I felt like the other wrestlers did exceptionally well. Anyway, point is, check out the hammers this week. Let's go with 9 takeaways for today. But before we get to the takeaway, let's, if you missed any of the college action this weekend, you missed some fireworks.
Inside Carver, Hawkeye Arena, 15,000 at her feet. Real Woods the decision with the riding time. 4-2. Both guys, I'm sure, wishing each other happy holidays, center of the mat. And listen to this crowd erupt. Welcome to Iowa.
Yeah, the renewed rivalry between the Cyclones and the Hawkeyes, they renew every single year for the Cyhawk Trophy. Usually it's been Iowa pretty much taking care of things lately. Well, yeah, the Cyclones at Iowa State, boy, they came to wrestle, and Swiderski is a lot of fun to watch as a freshman. And yeah, that was a great duel. If you missed it, I missed it in real time. Had to go back and watch it because I've been so busy and traveling and everything else. So be sure you go check that out. Campbell wrestled at the University of Virginia. The Carolina Takedown Talk Boys, Rhett and Ryan, were on the call for that for ESPN+. Congratulations to them. Yeah, there was a ton of action this weekend. Make sure you check it out. All right, takeaway number 1. And probably the toughest one, and this is missing weights and missing wrestlers, missing weights and missing not missing weights. I don't know why I said that. Missing wrestlers and missing teams. And what I mean by that is this. We preview every week. We try to pick out a particular couple of different tournaments to watch. And that's based upon a team list. And those teams, especially those top-level teams, you like to see them compete against the other top-level teams. It doesn't happen every weekend, but every now and again, the Southern Slam brought together a ton of really good teams. The Blackhorse Invitational in Tennessee brought to some really good teams together. Those sorts of things. We like to see that happen. But what I've noticed is that you get to the tournament and there are teams that are missing. And I don't know if it's because they simply didn't show up or they backed out for some reason or whatever. And I don't know if it's as prevalent of a problem as what it seems to me. But yeah, it's definitely been something to notice. For example, Brother Martin down in Louisiana wasn't at the Blackhorse Invitational. Looked like they were going to be, but they ended up going to the tournament in Mississippi, which is great. But when highlighting and kind of projecting out and talking about these things, it makes it really difficult to be able to give you a preview and talk about them, especially when teams change and go a different direction. Same is true for individuals, although I don't fault the individuals nearly as much. We know the limitations, especially early in the season with the heavier guys. Many aren't back from football. That's to be expected. Some miss because they're still dinged up, they're injured. I know Jake Craps for Cass was out because he was sick. Those are things that you can't control. Would love to have seen Jack in the mix at 26, 32, 38 at the Southern Slam. But, again, something to pay attention to. And the other thing to pay attention to as it relates to that is you see these final team scores and you have to look to see who might have been missing from their lineup because it has an impact. Now, he still went and competed, so I'm not doing the rankings, but it's certainly something I would pay attention to. But that said, Jake Craps is definitely good for X amount of points for Cass at the Southern Slam. Could change their position from finishing fourth to higher. Who knows? All right, let's move on. Takeaway number 2. So that was a negative. This is definitely a positive. And the positive is that there were multiple brackets that were fantastic. Absolutely really good brackets. Deep, very competitive. The first one, and I'm going to talk about 2. We could talk about more, but I don't want to spend too much time. The first one was at the Southern Slam at 138 pounds. If you did not see this prior to, I took a screenshot of it after they weighed in. These were the seeds, and it goes beyond obviously what I have in the screenshot here, but these were the seeds at 138 pounds, and we're talking about fantastic wrestling. I mean, state champions seated way down in the top 8, top 10. That's how tough and how deep of a bracket 138 pounds was at Southern Slam. Gorman ended up beating a Monty Mills in the finals, but I can tell you the quarterfinals, the semifinals, the matchups that occurred all along the way were super good. And down in Florida, which is their first weekend, it's amazing to see the level of competition at reservation at the Rumble, particularly at 152 pounds. You had Cooper Haas, who's a 3-time Florida State champion, nationally ranked. You had CJ Torres. You had Ethan Mohena, both from Lake Highland Prep. Gianni Maldonado from Lake Gibson. Wrestlers who compete at a national level, all in the same bracket in the opening weekend in the state of Florida. Pretty interesting to watch. So anyway, all right, let's jump around the Southeast, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this at the very beginning. If you didn't get a chance and are really interested in kind of looking at the brackets, the team scores, all these different things that I'm not going to be able to touch on I'm going to have to touch on very quickly as I go around this, and a bunch of tournaments that I won't cover in this. Go to scwrestle.com. I try to capture all the tournaments from the weekend, and yeah. All right. Takeaway number 3. Shout out to Lovett. They wrestled exceptionally well at the Atlanta Invitational in the state of Georgia. They crowned 5 champions. They beat a field that included Lumpkin County and beat Sonoraville, Valdosta. Lovett showed that they are a team to beat in Class 4A. Great showing by Lovett and in taking that title. Takeaway number 4. Let's jump to the girls real quick. And 2 tournaments I want to talk about. Tournament number 1 is the Garner Dyer Invitational up at Tullahoma in Tennessee. Routinely brings in, early in the season, the best girls from the state of Tennessee to all compete. And I guess not surprising. One not surprising thing and one surprising thing. Rossview won the team title over a solid field that include their rivals, Clarksville. But they did so with just one champ, which might have been a little unusual. They obviously have a lot of depth at Rossview for their ability to still take the team title and have just one champ. So shout out to Rossview on taking that title. Down in Florida, we had the Lady Clash of the Titans, and you could see why Brant Parsons, Cobra Wrestling, put Matanzas number 1. 4 champs for Matanzas. They outdistanced themselves from a really good field by quite a bit. I mean, we're talking like 80 points ahead of runner-up South Dade and a lot of other teams that were within that field. Matanzas looks like the real deal as we begin the season down in Florida. Those girls, we'll see if they end up winning the state title when all is said and done. All right, let's jump to takeaway number 5, over to Alabama. Huntsville, 43rd Annual Huntsville Invitational. Brought in teams from Tennessee and Georgia, but it was the hosts, Huntsville, that took home the title. They did so on the strength of their lightweights. 4 lightweights won, 106, 113, 132, and 138, I believe. All won titles for Huntsville. They held off Rockmart, really probably the number 1 ranked team, according to Lucas Da Silva and Fat and Scrappy, in 2A in the state of Georgia, who also had 4 champs. I think Brentwood from Tennessee was in the top 5. Chelsea from Alabama was in the top 3. A good tournament, but watched Huntsville, if they can put together their middleweights and their upper weights to go along with just hammers down low, Huntsville is going to be really tough in Alabama 7A. All right. Takeaway number 6. Go down to Border Wars. And one of my favorites, we could have highlighted, I mean, Florida had so many tournaments. I mean, just so many tournaments all over the place. Lots of really good competition. Some individual matchups that I have to go back and kind of pick apart and that sort of thing. But the reason we stay in the Panhandle, and one of the things that's really nice about it is it brings in Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida schools to compete against one another. Being this is more southeast and not a specific state, it's always nice to see those comparisons. And I'll tell you what, Jesuit, Louisiana showed out. They competed exceptionally well. They put 3 at the top of the podium and took home the team title over another pair of Louisiana teams, St. Paul and Holy Cross, as well as runner-up Woodward Academy out of Georgia, who looks tough and definitely is a team to watch in 6A in the state of Georgia. And number 5, the 5th place team, was Swanee, small school in the state of Florida, who wrestled exceptionally well. Another team to keep an eye on as we move further into the season. All right, takeaway number 7. Boy, I think that's where I am. Boy, I'm sorry about that. And let's jump up to North Carolina and the Jim King Orange Invitational. And again, just like Florida, North Carolina had a ton of tournaments. Could have picked lots of different places to go and highlight, but we stuck with this one primarily because Cary, Cardinal Gibbons, Davie County Orange, and Northwood, who came in 3rd, were all in the field. Cary ended up putting 3 on top of the podium, outlasting a really good Gibbons squad for the team title there the Cary Imps, I believe they are. Definitely a team to watch, particularly up top. You hit those middle weights and those upper weights, Cary gets to be a pretty tough team to deal with. All right, takeaway number 8. We'll jump over to the state of Tennessee, and I'm going to go ahead and admit that I maybe should have highlighted Knoxville Catholic Invitational in the what to watch this weekend, and I didn't realize that it would have Father Ryan, Bradley Central, Gibbs, Pigeon Forge, Lakeway Christian. I mean, really, really good teams in the state of Tennessee. Yes, it was Father Ryan who ended up taking the title at the Knoxville Catholic over Bradley Central. Again, some really, really good matchups there that you should definitely go back and watch if you can. I don't know if it was streamed or not. The tournament that I was referring to, though, was the Blackhorse Invitational at Houston High School in Tennessee, where Blackman took home the title and did so really on the strength of their team as a whole. They had one champ. I think they had 2 runners-up, but they outlasted a ton of teams. Christian Brothers, Paducah Tillman out of Kentucky, some really good teams, and teams that had more individual champions, like Signal Mountain with the Urachucks, who each of them took home a title. So definitely wants a shout out to Blackman and their ability to come together as a team to win the Blackhorse Invitational title. What popped in my head there just a second was I'm going to look this up real quick because I have to give a shout out. I don't usually do individuals, but and this isn't a slight on anyone, but Carson Duple, 120 pounds at the Knoxville Catholic Invitational, beat Bryson Terrell, App State commit, 4-3 in the finals at 120 in what probably was an outstanding final there at Knoxville Catholic. I'm hoping that I can go back and maybe get some video of that because I'm sure that match was definitely one to watch. Might have been one of the ones to watch regardless of where you were in the Southeast. All right, takeaway number 9 and our final group. Yes, I was at the Southern Slam at Eastside. Shout out to Coach Kaz, Coach Mayholt for putting on a wonderful tournament. If you didn't get to see it, I recorded every single one of the finals. They are up on YouTube and as well on the website. Go check them out. Let's see, big pictures. Buford took the title. They had 5 in the finals. I think they had 2 champs. Mill Creek was runners-up. They had 5 in the finals. They had 2 champs. I don't remember off the top of my head. I know, 2 champs, Mills and Bambinelli. Eastside had 4 in the finals. But the level, the depth, Cass, Jefferson, West Forsyth out of Georgia, North Paulding, as well as Belton Honea Path out of South Carolina. There were some really, really good teams, some exceptionally good brackets. Wrestling was, it was spot on. I think they streamed the finals, but I don't think they streamed all the matches. And I'll tell you what, some of the matches from the earlier brackets, Maddox MacArthur versus Blue Stifler at 132, or some of the other ones, they were fantastic matches. I took a few videos, and I'll try to get those posted as well. Most of the videos that are posted right now all the videos from the Southern Slam are of the finals, but I did take a few others as we were in the semis and so on and so forth. Southern Slam was fantastic. Some great individual matchups, really good in-season, early season competition in the state or in the Southeast. Let's see what to watch. Well, coming up this week, it is Ironman week, especially for those people or those teams that travel to the Ironman. I know there are teams in Florida and North Carolina who do so. Maybe a couple of teams in Tennessee that will head up that way. Georgia doesn't get the opportunity based on GHSA rules, which is unfortunate. Would love to see some of them at the Ironman. But anyway, look for my what to watch this weekend in the next coming days. And congratulations to everyone who wrestled exceptionally well this weekend. And it's a long season. So maybe you didn't hit the mark that you wanted to. Maybe you're still progressing to get to that point. Well, you know what? There's still quite a bit of time to figure out those things and turn it on and take home a state title in another 2 or 3 months. So anyway, you guys take care. Have a wonderful week. And yeah.